सबको खुशामदीद कहता हूँ इस कोर्स में। ये एक अपनी नौइयत का एक बड़ा ही मुनफरद कोर्स है, और जैसे कि कोर्स डिफाइन होता है एनर्जी मैनेजमेंट। तो नेक्स्ट इसमें कुछ आज ज़रा सा थोड़ी ओरिएंटेशन हो जाएगी इस कोर्स के बारे में कि ये कोर्स क्यों है, क्या है, कैसे चलेगा, क्या करेंगे। मेरा नाम रजीउद्दीन है और मोस्टली मुझे रज़ी के तौर पे लोग कॉल करते हैं। तो पहले मैं चाहूँगा कि जितने फेलोज़ हैं वो अपना इंट्रोडक्शन करा लें, जिसमें अपना नाम बता दें, अपनी डिग्री बता दें, अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी बता दें और कुछ थोड़ा अपना ऑब्जेक्टिव बता दें कि आपने ये कोर्स क्यों सेलेक्ट किया। बहुत से कोर्स हैं, MBAs हैं और बेताशा कोर्सेज हैं, लेकिन आपने अपनी कैरियर को इस तरफ क्यों, स्टीयरिंग व्हील इस तरफ आपने मोड़ा है। तो मैं आपसे शुरू करता हूँ।
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammed Zahid. I have done computer system engineering from UT Peshawar, from Karab. सर ये कोर्स इस वजह से लिया कि कंप्यूटर सिस्टम
बातें आप एक्सपीरियंस कुछ है तो
सर एक्सपीरियंस कुछ खास नहीं, और ये कंप्यूटर सिस्टम अलाउ नहीं था किसी और के लिए अप्लाई किए तो ऐसे किया।
My name is Mohammed Asif. I am graduated 2013 from UT Peshawar. सर ये कोर्स सर इसलिए मैंने सेलेक्ट किया सर कि यहाँ पे अभी सर जो फ्यूचर है सर वो रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी सर ज़्यादा रिलेटेड है। सर मेरा एक्सपीरियंस भी सर इसी बेस पे जा रहा था मिनिमम प्रोजेक्ट्स पे सर, तो ये सर अपॉर्चुनिटी थी सर अवेल करने के लिए, सो दैट्स व्हाई आई सेलेक्टेड दिस सब्जेक्ट।
सर मैंने BBA की है बिजनेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में, जिसमें सप्लाई चेन मैंने पढ़ा हुआ, और सर इससे पहले मैं असिस्टेंट एग्जीक्यूटिव सप्लाई चेन डिपार्टमेंट KPOGCL में काम भी करता रहा सर, और यहाँ पे भी मैं प्रोक्योरमेंट डिपार्टमेंट में काम कर रहा हूँ। ये कोर्स इसलिए सेलेक्ट किया क्योंकि एनर्जी मैनेजमेंट में इसकी सोर्सिंग के बारे में, स्पेशली हमें चीप सोर्सिंग के बारे में वो करनी होती है। पॉलिसी मेकिंग में भी बहुत ज़्यादा इसमें बात की गई है, तो मेरे जो थीसिस होंगे वो भी इसी डायरेक्शन में होंगे, इसीलिए मैंने एक कोर्स यूज़ किया।
रहमान सर, मैंने MBA फाइनेंस किया हुआ है पेशावर यूनिवर्सिटी से, और 8 साल का मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है फाइनेंस बैकग्राउंड में। करंटली इधर मैं काम कर रहा हूँ एज अ मैनेजर फाइनेंस एंड ग्रांट्स, और मेरा शौक़ है कि सर मैं कमिंग जो जनरेशन आ रही है सर, वो एनर्जी पॉलिसी के हवाले से मैं उसमें अपना फाइनेंस की तरफ से कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट करूँ। तो इस वजह से मैंने इंटरेस्ट अपना शो किया कि मैं इधर एनर्जी मैनेजमेंट में MS करूँ।
Hi everyone, this is me, Dr. Najib. I've done my PhD from University of Cambridge, UK. I'm the founding director of US-Pakistan Center for Advanced Study in Energy, and I will be definitely one of the instructors of energy management.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Raziuddin. I done my BAE electronics from CAS-EMS-501 and I am from Mardan. ये कोर्स इसलिए सेलेक्ट किया है कि एक तरफ इंजीनियरिंग है तो उसके साथ पैरेलल में अगर मैनेजमेंट आ जाए तो मतलब स्कोप भी है और अच्छा एक।
Assalamualaikum. I'm Rabia and I've done MS in Energy Management from Concepts Islamabad, and right now I'm assisting Razi in KPOGCL and in this program.
Assalamualaikum everyone. This is Raziuddin Khan. Done electrical power engineering from UT Peshawar. 1 साल का फील्ड एक्सपीरियंस है मोस्टली कंस्ट्रक्शन और इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन कंपनीज के साथ। तो देखे फील्ड में कि कंपनी किस तरह चलती है, इस वजह से शौक हो इसके आगे चलकर कोई अपनी कंपनियां कर हो सकती शुरू।
Assalamu alaikum sir. So my name is Mohammed Kamran and I have done electrical engineering from CAS-EMS-501 और अभी मॉनिटरिंग एंड इवैल्यूएशन में मेरा 3-4 साल एक्सपीरियंस है।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर, मेरा नाम जरताज हैदर है और मैंने इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग की है QCET से। इस सब्जेक्ट को सिलेक्ट करने की वजह यह है कि आप जानते हैं यहाँ पर पाकिस्तान में पावर आउटेज का जो मसला है, जिसकी बेसिक वजह रिसोर्सेज नहीं बट मैनेजमेंट है, जिसकी वजह से मेरा ख्याल है कि ये जो सब्जेक्ट है काफ़ी फ़ायदेमंद होगा आगे पाकिस्तान के लिए और हमारे लिए भी। मेरा 5 ईयर्स एक्सपीरियंस है इलेक्ट्रिकल डिज़ाइनिंग में स्पार्क से, और पहला मेयर इस सब्जेक्ट के लिए।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम Hey everybody, I've done my electronics engineering from UT Peshawar. Currently I'm doing an IP internship in BITSEL Peshawar in business operations. और कोर्स इसलिए चूज़ किया है क्योंकि आजकल जो है एनर्जी क्राइसिस बहुत है और रिसोर्सेज है हमारे साथ, लेकिन क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग की ज़रूरत है मैनेजमेंट की. तो इस वजह से होपफुली आई विल ऐड something efficient to in the field of energy for Pakistan.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम. मेरा नाम रफीउल्लाह है. यूटी पेशावर से मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग मैंने की और 1 साल दोस्तन जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्री है उसमें 1 साल काम किया है. मैंने एनर्जी मैनेजमेंट इसलिए सेलेक्ट किया है कि मैंने यूटी पेशावर में जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग क्लासेस वो काफ़ी पढ़े हैं, तो मैनेजमेंट का मेरा कुछ आइडिया बहुत नहीं है काम है, तो इसलिए तो ये कोर्स सेलेक्ट किया.
Assalamu alaikum. Myself, Sir Mohammed Shabir Khan. I have done BC Chemical Engineering from UT Peshawar. So as we know that energy is the world #1 and for most need, and in Pakistan it is the most crucial needs for us. So that's why I have selected the subject in order to contribute myself something. Thank you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdurrahman and I am graduated from UT Peshawar in Chemical Engineering. And the aim of selecting energy management and sustainability is that Pakistan is facing a lot of crises in energy which have already very many resources in energy sector, but they need to be managed in a well form. So I am here. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Asif Ijaz. I am a metallurgy and materials engineer by profession. So the reason I have opted for this course is because I want to know about different energy policies and energy tariffs. I have a personal interest in energy, so I have opted for this course.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम. मेरा नाम अमर अली है और मैंने इलेक्ट्रिकल पावर इंजीनियरिंग यूटी पेशावर से की है, क्योंकि बीएस के बाद मैं एमबीए करना चाह रहा था, लेकिन यहाँ पे मुझे एक कोर्स मिला. तो मेरा मैनेजमेंट के साइड पे बहुत ज़्यादा शौक है कि मैं मैनेजमेंट के साइड पे जाऊँ, तो इस वजह से मैंने ये कोर्स सेलेक्ट किया.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Malik Ahmad. I done my BS in electrical engineering, communication. Practical life में जब कोई बंदा जाता है तो उसमें एक लेवल इस तरह आता है कि उसमें मैनेजमेंट करनी होती है, तो मुझे शौक पहले से कि मैं मैनेजमेंट में जाऊँ और ये कोर्स सीखूँ.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Islam Nabi. I did my BSc Electrical Engineering from City University Peshawar, and I am interested in energy management and sustainability because of my final year project. I did my final year project in run-of-river type power plants. That's why I am interested in energy management. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jawad Ahmed. I have done industrial engineering from UT Peshawar. और MS एनर्जी मैनेजमेंट एंड सस्टेनेबिलिटी सेलेक्ट करने का मेरा यही एक ऑब्जेक्टिव है कि मैं OGDCL में काम करना चाहता हूँ, एंड इट ओपन द डोर टू डू.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammed Naeem and I have a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering. और इधर आने का मकसद ये है कि मैनेजमेंट की ज़्यादा लगाव है, तो एनर्जी मैनेजमेंट मतलब एक खास सेंस की तरफ ना हो जाए.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम. My name is Syal Khan and मैं अभी जो फिज़िक्स मेरा रनिंग है, लेकिन मैं कुछ मैनेजमेंट के बारे में सीखने के लिए यहाँ पर आया हूँ ताकि इन लोगों से कुछ सीखा जा सके.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and we'll move to the second part. Now in this course instructors are like myself, Dr. Najib Saab, and a few others that you will get introduced very soon. We bring a lot of experience in energy and management and so many other faculties, and I hope you will benefit from this experience, and what we really want is to pass on whatever we have learned on to you so that you can take charge of these companies and the businesses and the government. We have planned guest speakers. The list will be coming soon, where there's a routine class going on, but we will have people like Razak Dawood, Mr. Mansha, Mr. Shamsuddin, head of the agro company, Mr. Shoaib Malik, head of the Atak Group. You must have heard of the Atak Group. And Asad Umar, and people of these icons, head of the World Bank, head of the Asian Bank, so that they can come and you get exposed to these people who have international experience and who has done a great job as far as the management and energy is concerned. So we'll have a series of guest speakers, and I would appreciate that you also work hard so that you come to that stature when people of that stature come, so that you ask them questions of that level, so that they can also appreciate that there is a crop growing in Peshawar, UET Peshawar, which they can benefit, and the country can benefit, and the province can benefit. The seating arrangement is, I think this is okay. It's a random seating. Feel free to sit wherever you want. It's not a big deal, but I would appreciate that you keep the seating so that I can communicate with you that who is Ajaz and who is Jawad, and otherwise I'll keep forgetting the names. We'll have a namaz break as usual. We will try to, sometimes it happens that I get busy or some of the faculty members get busy, so we may have to schedule a Saturday, Sunday class. So especially when the time comes for exams and for some catch-up that we need to do, we may encounter some Saturday, Sunday classes for which you have to come up with some time. Then what are the objectives? We'll go through the objectives of MSEM. Why was this program developed, and why do we need this program in KP? Why not in Islamabad? Why not, Islamabad already has. So we are the first among the provinces to develop this because we have a massive amount of job at hand. To get that job done, it's very important to create managers who understand energy. We'll have a number of case studies where you have to develop case studies. We'll bring some case studies from Harvard, some from LUM, some from IBA, but you also have to go interview people like the managing director of OGDCL, the managing director of Bank of Khyber, the managing director of Nishad Power, so that you find out how did that company grow and why the other company, Japan Power, went bankrupt. Both. So it will be a hectic semester. I assure you this thing, that you have to work very hard, and there's a lot of input that you have to put in. And interacting with these chief executives and chairmen and the presidents of the companies and MDs will open up your vision as well. So that's very important that before you meet these icons of Pakistan, you have a very good homework done. That when you talk to them on a level basis. So that when they question you about your future, about your course, about your works, you should be able to answer those as well. Reading and writing powers. This is very important for any master's course. That you should have a very, very strong reading, writing, speaking powers. Because to grow to the ladder of CEOs and managing directors and the chairmen, these qualities have to be ingressed in you so that you become a very fluent speaker, reader, and writer. And of course, I'll discuss the objectives as to why do we want to have this strategic organizational management course of the public and private sector. Next. If it's a small shop, like a petrol pump here and a petrol pump, do you need an MS energy management? Of course not. People with maybe bachelor's degree or maybe an FA can also run these businesses, and you must have relatives and friends who are running these small businesses. So if somebody has a target to run a petrol pump or a small store or a barber shop, then he need not be here. Okay, then this is not the place for you. Then next. Then even you go to a sort of a medium factory. Medium factory, okay, a bachelor's of engineering is enough to run these things, or an MBA is enough, or of that level is more than enough to run an LNG plant and a bottling plant, which is maybe like this is 4 acres, 5 acres, this is it. So your objective, what you see in a frame, is 5 acres, and you can run that 5 acres pretty easily if you have a bachelor's degree. Some of you are bachelors in chemical engineering, So you can become a managing director of this one, that's fine. But that's not the objective here. Objective is much grander, much bigger, much larger scope that we have. Next. Now these are small factories, you can run it with a simple degrees, that's not a big deal. Next. Now we come to large businesses, agro, a conglomerate, a massive amount of assets they have, fertilizer factories, power plants, agro food. So to become a top level and to see from the skies that these companies, you need a much, much larger vision. That's the reason we have this course here. So that when you look at these companies from the top, these companies under your vision should progress and you should be able to control. Now, there's one person, you controlling 40,000 people. How do you do that? In a petrol pump, you have maybe 14, 15 people, easy to control. But when you come to 40, 50,000 people and their sales is running into billions of rupees, you can keep counting zeros, 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 you don't know where the zeros will end. How do you keep that in your mind? The zeros after one. So that's where we want to develop this first batch so that you can take a higher position and important positions in the energy companies of Pakistan. Next. Similarly, National Refinery, ZT, these are all large companies where opening an LC, importing crude oil from Iran or Saudi Arabia requires a lot of homework and a lot of knowledge that you need to have of international market, a lot of reading. You should be reading Pakistan Economist, British Economist, Wall Street. You just can't read Mashriq Akhbar and become a CEO. That's out. That you cannot. You have to, and we'll be reading Wall Street Journal here, we'll be reading Harvard Journal here, and we'll be reading economists here, not Mashriq, not Khabre, not Akas and these kind of newspapers. That's to improve your vision to that level where you can interact and your frame of mind is national and international. Next. The Atta Group, the Pakistan Petroleum, keep on going. Next also. So all these require a tremendous amount of vision, negotiation skills, improved English, strategy, tactics, so that you can get the best for the country and for the company. And what you can do is how to run these mega projects. Now coming to KB, why did the reason arise in KB to develop son of the soil here, people who belong to this area, who live in this area. Allah has given infinite amount of bounties in terms of oil and gas, hydro, and the people. The kind of people we have in this province. They can bring a revolution in the energy sector, which is the backbone of any economy for Pakistan. But at present, we are producing 50,000 barrels, and at 55,000 a barrel, and 365 days, 100 billion rupees worth of oil is being produced every year. 100 billion. And similarly, you go oil, gas, 85 billion, LPG, 15 billion, hydro revenue is 80 billion. That's 280 billion rupees worth of business is going on in hydro and oil only. Now there has to be people to manage it. We are not talking of a shop, Kiryana shop that makes a sales of 15,000 rupees a day. No, nothing of this sort. We are not talking of small businesses. When you are here in this classroom, you need to think big, super big. You need not think micro and small. That's not the reason for this course. You need to envision yourself taking care of big businesses and big numbers, big strategies, talking to the big people. Just recently from OGDCL, I took 5 of my very young people, around age 30, to the Prime Minister. There was a meeting in the Cabinet Hall, and the chief ministers were there from other provinces, 2 provinces, chief secretaries were there, ministers, Atif Khan, Energy Minister, was there. The Finance Minister of Punjab, Miss Aisha, was there. Chief Minister of Sindh was there. Chief Minister of Balochistan is there, and Prime Minister was there chairing. And there were 3 chief secretaries and a number of other secretaries. So where I took from OGDCL 5 very young people around age 30 to interact in the cabinet room. The history was made. For the first time, young people ever entered that room to attend a meeting. That's what we want. I will take you to the Prime Minister also. So you can question him, you can challenge him, you can discuss with him. He's also an engineer from Stanford, I believe, and he will accept our invitation. So you need to, sometime almost when we are 60-70% done, we will go, and by that time you should have a much higher vision for Pakistan and for KP. So if you see 280 billion rupees worth of business is going on, and there has to be people to handle these. By 2025, we expect this to be 1 trillion rupees. Now, how many zeros 1 trillion has? That kind of brains and that kind of training, that kind of people that we want, that who can handle these mega projects and who can handle these mega rupees and dollars. Now, to do this business is not an easy job. MOL is running, OGDC is running, power plants are being run, and with the passage of time, this will be growing. By the time you will start having gray hair, white hair, this 1 trillion perhaps will jump to 2 trillion rupees. So that's what, with the CPAC coming in, another dynamic is coming in. So we need to encash these opportunities, these bounties Allah has given us for the people and the masses of KP and Pakistan. We need to improve quality of life indices. We need to create jobs. We need to better GDP. You are here with an opportunity to handle these cases, and also a big burden on you that you become successful in your life by handling these kind of projects in these kinds of dollars. Now, I don't know how many people have read these 4 lines before in the newspapers. Anybody you have read in the newspapers? You have read the newspapers. Maybe you may not have given any thought to it. That this is the kind of economy that we are doing now, and this is the kind of economy that is growing now in KP. Next. Now, with the previous comes a number of revenues to the KP government. How does these gali kuchas get made? Your hospitals, your district hospitals, your schools, your colleges get built. The salaries for the police comes, the salaries for the administration come, the deputy commissioner gets the salaries. Where does it comes from? Somewhere. What is this somewhere? You're paying a tax. That you're paying an income tax when you buy a U card or whatever. The income tax goes to the federal government. The federal government keeps 43%, and out of the rest, 57%, it gives half to Punjab, and then it gives 14% to us, 34% to Sindh, 9% to Balochistan, and then to FATA, northern areas, HGK, according to the population. This census will change that canvas, but for the time being, this is what we are getting. But then, with the oil and gas and hydro, we get all these, the royalty on oil and gas, LPG, windfall levy, development surcharge, excise duty on crude oil, production bonus, welfare fund, corporate social responsibility, net hydro profit, and water usage charges. Now, this is all the revenues that we get besides the tax that you get. Now, some of you may end up in the government, in the finance department of the government, in the planning department of the government. Some of you may one day become the chief secretary of the province. So what you need to ensure that you are getting all your dues from the federal government, because you have to pay the bills here. You have to pay your bills here by the salaries, by buying vehicles for the police, by making new schools, by employing teachers for the future generation. So this is the source of revenues that we get, and this only perhaps equals more than 50-60 billion rupees for this province. And it's a big chunk of money that we get for the betterment. The more we get this, the better it is for our families, for our people, for our cities, for our parents, for all of us, to improve the quality of life. So this is, again, you have to come up with innovative ideas, and some of you will get an assignment out of these to read these things, maybe in my course, in my other course as well, that how to increase these revenues. What to be caused? What are we missing? What is that my generation has not seen that you can see? Because I've played my thing. It's you who has to now take the things in your hand so that you can get a better life for yourself, for your families, for your neighbors, for your cities, for your province. So this is what is bundle of money is awaiting this thing. The target of KP government is that up to 10, we should have a revenue of 100 billion rupees in terms of this 1 to 9, 1 to 10, 100 billion, and 100 billion is a lot of money. And again, 100 billion in this area. So 200 billion should be coming. Today now we are getting something like from these about 40-50 billion, and about 150 billion comes from your taxes, which goes to the federal government and comes back in terms of National Finance Commission award. So this is all we have. This is very small money. We cannot live with that. We cannot make big roads. That's why you see all our roads are broken. You see all our schools have in a bad shape. You see we don't have proper colleges, proper universities, proper hospitals, proper operation theatre. Why we don't have the money? Now, what should be done to get the maximum money? These are the avenues that we need to explore. The more oil and gas we produce, more money we get here. More hydropower plants we get cheaper power, and plus we get net hydro profit. Similarly, if you see, Allah has given us reserves of almost 1.1 billion barrels of oil at present. We are doing more studies, but this is what we have. So if you multiply that by 50, that's $60 billion worth of oil that we have. Now 60 billion, if you divide it by a population of 3 crores, you can imagine yourself how much money each will get if this oil comes out. Similarly, gas. Now this oil also goes for our petrol, refineries and this and that. This gas goes to our houses, and this gas is used in our factories, in our power plants, in our commercial, in our hospitals to help us out. And we are also sending it to Faisalabad. Almost 1/3 is going to Faisalabad. Now this equals 42 at current low prices. That equals again 100 billion worth of oil and gas we have. Now we need to take it out. We cannot just leave it under the ground. So it is you managers who have to come forward with innovative ideas to produce this oil and gas at a cheaper rate and then bring it to the use of the people. There's no point keeping oil and gas underground. We have to bring it out. So that's one thing that we require managers to bring this oil and gas out of the ground and use it for the people, and also earn money for the government and for the people to create jobs. Now you people will be out of this university maybe in 2 years' time. So you would definitely want jobs to be waiting for you. If there's enough refineries, petrochemical plants, gas plants, power plants, hydropower plants, oil and gas exploration going on, definitely you will get a job very quickly. But if we don't work and if we sit in our offices and we don't manage, then you have no place. But when you take the reign of your companies, then you should provide jobs for the coming generation. So this is a cycle that keeps on going. But unless you produce that quality in yourself to manage these and to lead these oil and gas and hydro projects and the solar projects and the wind projects, there'll be nobody will come and work for you. So these are the kind of money management, and with that comes the project management that you need to think about and you need to work about. Further, why do we need? We discussed oil and gas that we have. Now I come to the investment. That was on an annual basis, on annual numbers that was. Now we come to the total investment what we require. You see, oil and gas exploration, There are 56 blocks and 5 billion per block. That's 280 billion that we require to be invested. KP blocks, who will market it? Okay, we have come to a point where we have marketed 28 blocks. There are 28 more blocks that has to be marketed. So you have to be in Dubai, you have to be in Qatar, you have to be in Jeddah, you have to, take a flight from here to Abu Dhabi and then have a meeting there, and from there on fly to Qatar, and from Qatar he said, okay, let's go to Tokyo to meet Mitsubishi, so you have to fly from there. So you have to be very versatile. You just can't be saying that, oh, I'm tired, or nothing of this sort. There's no thakna. I used to fly from Lahore to Thailand, Bangkok to Malaysia. Attend a meeting in the morning. I used to schedule my flight that I arrive there early morning. At the airport, I take a shower and change clothes, attend the meeting, and in the evening I take a flight to Tokyo. So I was literally sleeping on the planes and attending meetings in Tokyo, Beijing, London, Bangkok, Thailand, Singapore. That's how things get developed. That's how you bring people interested to Pakistan. You fly from here to Dubai, attend a meeting, and from there take a flight to Qatar, have a meeting there, and then you take a flight to Karachi and back. So that's the kind of people we really want to manage these companies. And it's a pretty large stamina that you need to survive as a CEO. Because the owners, the shareholders would not keep you for a minute if they find that the gentleman is relaxed and he's at home and he's not coming. They want you to work 30 hours on a daily basis, not you working 16, 15 hours. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on you, and I'm not trying to afraid you, I'm trying to tell you the realities, because why I'm coming to that slide where I want the students of MSEM to land one day. So now, if you see oil and gas exploration, oil and gas production, about 1.1 trillion rupees of investment is required. Hydel, if we need to develop 35,000 megawatts of hydel at $3 million per megawatt, at 100 rupees you just keep on counting zeros. 10 trillion, three times the budget of Pakistan. Pakistan is 20 crore people. Is a prime minister managing it. There are ministers. There is chief of army staff. There is chief justice. Who is not managing 3 trillion economy? Only 3 trillion. And there are so many people. Rangers, ISI, MI. Now what you have to manage is 3 times that. 10 trillion. Do you need a prime minister to work under you? Do you need ISI to work under you? No, you have to work alone. It's this team. You will end up in other companies to make, KP is constructing Koto in Dir, and then Lavi in Swat, and Badaltan in Mansehra area, and Balakot again in Shangla area. So these 3 big power plants are coming. Now somebody has to be a CEO of that. It cannot run on its own, just automatic, there's no robots. You have to run these plants. Then oil and gas sector. KPOGCL, inshallah, will go for IPO in Karachi and then London. So somebody has to manage those. So if we are going for 10 trillion and all these 3 numbers add up to 12, 13 trillion, almost 4 times the Pakistan economy have to be managed. So you cannot be asking that, okay, I need a chief of army staff, I need DGMI to work for me. No, this is a total management, it's a totally different thing. But you can see the magnitude. To control annually 3 trillion economy, there are so many people, there's parliament, but here, as a management, as an engineer, as an MBA, or as a law graduate, or whatever faculty you are a geophysicist, you become CEO. A number of CEOs have to jointly manage the KP economy with 12, 13 trillion rupees. So that's a challenge that the KP is facing. That's why KP needs to produce more and more managers to manage. Our tragedy is that we have not been able to manage our institutions for the last 30, 40 years. even after the 1973 constitution passed during the Zulfikar Ali Bhutto time, we have not been able to produce those managers who can manage these organizations. PETO was formed in 1985, almost 40 years have passed, and all they have is 100 megawatts to show. This is nothing to show. They should have had almost 20,000 megawatts perhaps by now if they had good management. So that's where we want to produce now such people who can be good managers. Any question? Question?
Sir, does IT has a future in all this, or?
Yeah, definitely. With all this, if there's a 10, 12, 13 trillion investment coming in, everything is IT. There is SCADA, there is communication, there is paperless society, there is beaming of information from Tank to Peshawar, from Karak to Peshawar, from Shangla to Peshawar. So the IT is going to be a major backbone of our industrialization and our businesses and our efficiency. That's why we need to be competitive and produce efficiency, and that's where IT will jump in. Without IT, America and Germany and France and Japan would not be where they are today. Yes, definitely hydel is because there is no oil and gas or coal that goes into it. And it's just water has been recycled, it's renewed and after renewed and renewed. But definitely we need coal, we need solar, we need wind, we need oil, gas, LPG and hydel of course. So all forms of energy are required, and conservation is required, efficiency is required. So without that you cannot say that I'm going to just do the conservation. I'll be conserving everything, we'll shut off the lights. Out of these 40 lights, I will just work on one light. That's not also practical. You cannot have factories with no lights. So that's also very important. Plus, you need to create those lights. You have to create power. You have to create energy. You have to run your vehicles. You have to run your industry. You have to run your whole economy. So for economy, all these things are definitely needed. And without even one missing, you cannot configure the whole equation so that the economy grows. So that's IT that
yes,
you worry about. Strong people to manage this. We didn't do it. We could have done it 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, but we didn't do it because we didn't have managers. We didn't have those people who will come forward and tell the chief ministers, the governors at that time, we will do it. Give it to us. They didn't have the trust to give that thing to the people of that time. That's why we lost this 30, 40, 50 years because we didn't have those managers. But now the time has come where the demand of the people is there and the requirement of the society is there that give us oil, gas, power, cheap electricity, cheap oil and gas, cheap LPG, so that they can have a good life, they can spend more money on something else rather than paying for expensive power and oil and gas and petrol, diesel. So that's where the society thinks that we need managers who have masters and PhDs in energy management to manage this 75 trillion rupees worth of business. Pakistani budget. अगर आपने ऐसे पढ़ा ना यहाँ से आके यहाँ गई फिर आके यहाँ वापस आई फिर ये आपने पढ़ा तो फिर आप 100 पेजेस 150 पेजेस ही पढ़ सकेंगे लेकिन जब आप ऐसे पढ़ेंगे ना ये आपने पढ़ा फिर आपने ऐसे पढ़ा फिर आपने ऐसे पढ़ा फिर ऐसे पढ़ा. This is how you read. This is how you get fast reading. That's what I'm saying. You have to be very, very fast in understanding. उसके बाद ये जो ऐसे I think there's a zero missing. Is about 603 billion rupees. OGDCL 171 billion only. You can see the billion and a trillion, the difference between the two. And OGDC has so many people. They have an MD, they have general managers, and so on and so forth. And similarly, if you have an OGDCL 1, 2, 3, 4 OGDCL and PPLs in, so you will require so much of people to work here. It cannot happen by itself. It has to have the human resource that is required. Similarly, Pakistan oil field 30 billion, SNGPL 240 billion. So you can see the scale to appreciate what KP has. So what kind of, if the managing director of OGDCL his height is 5 feet, so in KP his height should be something like 200 feet. And so high, he has to have so much of height and so much of brain to handle this kind of projects. Obviously, it's not one-man show. It's so many projects will be done. So many people are required. So if there is one OGDCL, if you divide this by this, you probably require 200-300 MDs here in KP. And that's what we are here to produce, those managing directors and chief executives. Next. Now, what does this do to the economy of KP? All of us want a better quality of life indices. We want a higher growth of GDP. We want energy security of Pakistan. We want oil, gas, power to bring cash for KP. You see what happened in Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia exported, Kuwait exported, Qatar exported oil and gas, and they became rich. So the money started flowing in from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, everywhere, China, Korea, Japan, to Saudi Arabia. In 1973, 74, and till today, Saudi is selling oil, gas. We can also send power. We can sell power to Punjab and Sindh and Balochistan, AJK, and earn money. So if I produce what I was showing, then with a population of 300, our per capita should jump something around Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or Qatar. Because of this trillions of rupees, if you are sincere and if you do produce all this power, oil and gas, you cannot consume it yourself because there's a limit of consumption. Even if your per capita consumption goes to what is Turkey today, 5,000 kilograms of oil equivalent, even then you will be having enough. Suppose, like any other business, if you grow enough tomatoes, if you grow 1 trillion rupees worth of tomatoes and potatoes, you cannot eat it all. You have to send it to Punjab. And you get money, and you get money for your farmers. Similarly with oil and gas, Allah has given this free to us for just to work a little bit to construct these hydropower plants and oil and gas and solar so that we can export these energy molecules and electrons to other provinces and earn money. So the money starts flowing from this. You can grow as many tomatoes and potatoes and corn, but you will not get what you can get from oil and gas because we are rich in oil and gas and hydro. So to improve our economy, this is a cash that we have. This is cash we have. Hydro is cash for us. So like hydro, Tarbela was built back in 70s, and today we are getting a royalty out of Tarbela about 18 billion rupees from Tarbela. Was built by Ayub Khan, somewhere Field Marshal Ayub Khan built it way back when it was put in the Constitution 1973 that KP will get, NWFP at that time will get net hydro profit, a royalty from Tarbela. So today we are getting 18 billion rupees annually from Tarbela. That's a big amount of money. That can create so many schools, so many jobs, but there's a calculation going on that it should not be 18, it should be like 40, 50 billion. So once we go to the court and the court finalizes, so that's that kind. So if we had Dasu and we had Daimir and all these, so 18 could have been multiplied by 10, we could have had 180 billion rupees. And that's a big chunk of money that comes. The more money, the more rich your government is, then they can build more roads, more infrastructure, make your quality of life much better. And that's what this cash we need to bring into KP. Our kilogram of oil equivalent, but how much energy we use. We use only 380 kilograms of oil equivalent per person in KP, and that's very low. It's really, I mean, it's you know, we are ashamed to even tell any other, when we go to the seminars and conferences abroad, we are ashamed to tell that we are such a poor country. Pakistan is 500 and KP is 380. Even in Pakistan, we are much lower. Karachi is about 700, 800. And Turkey is 5,000. So one person uses 5,000 kilograms of oil equivalent energy. You can see the difference. It's almost more than 15, 16, 20 times that they are using. Because they are a much advanced nation, much richer nation than us. Then there's no reason why should we be left behind. Why, with this oil and gas and power, why should we be matching these nations of people who are rich and have a good quality of life? Of course, jobs. We need to create jobs. That's one thing. So all these, I'm telling you, to impress on you that you have a very big task at hand once you come to this class. If you've decided to take this task, if you are a doctor, medical doctor, you go in the morning, you cut a person, pocket your money, you go back home, that's it. If you're a lawyer, you go to the court room and then you fight a case, go back to your office, have a cup shop and then go home. But this is not the case if you have selected this profession of managing companies and big conglomerates and big institutions. Then the hard works and spending time comes with it. Next. Now this is like a pyramid. What happens is that you have masters in engineering, geology, accounting. They keep working in the departments. You keep working in the departments. Every department. MBA Finance is working in MBA Finance. Bachelor's in Electrical Engineering, Chemical Engineering is working in their own divisions, departments. But then on top of it comes MBAs, accounting, finance. We are managing these engineers and they are managing these departments. So these are the departments, these are the divisions over that. And then when it comes to managing all of them comes in the terms that, I'm not talking of textile factories or carpet industry, I'm talking of energy. When it comes to energy, now MS in energy management should be managing all these things. So it's a pyramid. So at the top comes the MS in energy management. So you will have to manage MBAs, you have to manage engineers. You don't have to work yourself. Other people work for you, but you manage them with your strategy. So you have to be a strategist to manage these things. So that's the quality that we would like you to inculcate in yourself. Read, study, discuss here, and we will be also imparting these things to you, that how you become good managers at this point, at the top. And then you become CEOs and chief technical officers, chief information officers. You ask for the IT. So this is where you are managing the people at this lower food chain. Next. Now what happens? People at the Harvard University and Wharton and Stanford who do MBA, they immediately go from zip here to CEO position. I worked in States for almost 7-8 years, and I've seen, and there I was an engineer, and then slowly I did my MBA, and I see these Harvard graduates coming and just flying, they take the top positions. Whether from Wharton School in Pennsylvania, or at that time MBA was, back in the 80s, MBA was the new jargon, MBA was the new, there was no MSEM. So even the energy companies were being managed by MBAs. So I also did my MBA, and I also get my chance to become a CEO in a very short span of time. And now is the time where if an MBA has applied and an SME, MS in EM has applied in energy companies, I'm sure that the masters in energy management will have a better chance to get a CEO position, to get a higher position than an MBA. Like in, if you see OGTCL and PPL and Pakistan Oilfield Atak Refinery, when they advertise for post, they also write like MBA and MSEM. So we worked hard when I was in teaching the same course in ComStats. So we met all even the federal government when they advertise posts. They also have this position. Every position has like MBA and MSEM. So that's how we create jobs for this kind of course, so that in the future, because otherwise at times people do challenge that MSEM was not written and this and that. So those things also here in KP we will try that whenever they advertise for a job they write MBA, MPA, MS and MSEM, so that you have a better chance there. So this is what happens, and this is what we want to create here. If you have that quality, please welcome here. If not, then you need to discuss with yourself, am I at the right place? Am I going to make a zip jump here and sit on a CEO's desk or a top level desk? I don't mean immediately CEO, but of course at the top. So you don't have to go through this snake and ladder in your life like other people go, that okay, you know snake and ladder, ludo jo hota hai, that you go up 2 steps, then snake eats you come down, then you take the ladder, then you come down. No, this is just a projectile that will take you to the top, but you have to have certain qualities that we will discuss over this inshallah next 2 years, so that when you come out of this class and you have a degree in your hand, you really mean it. You really mean it, that you'll be able to see these positions waiting for you, and by that time there will be a number of power plants will be built, a number of oil and gas will be happening, so that you can have an opportunity as well. But of course, you have to yourself talk to yourself and teach yourself so that you can be on that position. Next. Now, coming slowly down to what is our direction. When we designed this course, myself and Dr. Najib Saab, this is not a typical course of Kirchhoff law and Boyle's law and all that thermodynamics of quantum theory and all that, Rutherford and this and that. This is a little different. This is more of imaginative. You don't have books. You don't have notes. Your exams are open book, open notes, open mobiles, open discussion, whatever you want. But we want you to produce in your exams something really an innovative thing. We want you to think about, as I said, the big things, the big money, the big projects, how to handle projects where 40,000 people are working. So that's what the exams are. As I said, we get certain books in the library that you can take, but then the newspapers are there, the Google is there, the Harvard Review is there, all these things that you need to read. And then only then you'll be able to catch up with this class. So our MSEMS is designed to prepare and equip future energy managers, designed to satisfy the growing demand, because as I said, I showed you last 5, 6, 7 slides that what is the demand. To match that demand, we need people like you. Because you have come through a competitive exam, so you must be the best out of those 140 who appeared. So by the way, don't we have 25 people or 25? Okay, I see. So that's what you have, and the province needs you, and to equip our future leaders, that is you, for planning, develop, construct, operate, manage mega projects. I'm not talking of small projects. You should have this craving in yourself to manage mega projects. That's what you should start to thinking right from your first homework to your exam, to your case studies, to your projects, everything you start thinking of mega. If we wanted you to manage a small, grocery store, then I believe MBA is better for you, not this class. So this class will have a much higher level of thinking than a normal MBA. You need to have competency in you, challenges in you, fulfill the emerging market with skilled energy managers that you want, encourage professional growth and development of students, and also research comes all along your life. So all along your life you have to do more and more research. At nights, after you get out of the office, you are sitting on laptop, you're sitting with the books, trying to find solutions for the problems that you have in the field and in the factories and in the businesses. Next. Now again, as I said before, you need to have that vision. Even if you're working in Peshawar, doesn't matter. You still have to have international and national vision. That what is happening. Suppose the price, as I was discussing, the price at the petrol pump. You go and you look at it. Okay, it's 71 rupees per liter. You say, okay, give me 1,000 rupees, and you fill up your vehicle. That's it. But what is behind this nozzle price of 71 rupees or 80 rupees, whatever you see? This, you go from there, you backtrack yourself from there to Karachi, to Ras Al Noura, Saudi Arabia, to Singapore. The price starts from Singapore early morning. The price is, what is happening in Singapore is the price that you see on your nozzle. Now that requires a total variable of more than 80-90 variables that happens in the morning in Singapore to end up in Saudi Arabia, Ras Al Noura, and from there a ship goes to Karachi, and there's a port, there's a wharfage, there's Port Qasim, there's Karachi Port Trust, there's losses, there is so many factors. Then there's a gravity. Every ship has a different gravity. Gravity you all understand. It's how heavy is that oil that is coming. So all these 75-80 variables go along till you see your price. Now those are not just variables of some simple arithmetic or simple thing. Those are very, very complex maths and very, very complex models of pricing. That what has happened early morning in Singapore ends up your nozzle. Now somebody is there, it's people like you who have to grasp those pricing. We'll go through those pricing in the class also. And then the laws come in. Inspection of crude oil, inspection of petrol, inspection of diesel, how does it happen? So now you are at the top. You are top from the clouds looking at all these variables happening. And then you want to ensure that nobody is charging more than 71 rupees, for example. Less, more or less. And then you need to make a profit out of it. You need to create jobs out of it. So that's the kind of vision that you have. So you have to have your international vision that's coming from there on to this place. To have convincing power for financial close. By financial close, you mean that if you want to have this 10-12 trillion rupees for KP doesn't have that kind of money. We have just small money for paying salaries. Then you go to the banks. You go to Habib Bank. Habib Bank says, sorry, I don't have this kind of money. Then you have to take a flight and go to Singapore and talk to ABN AMRO, Citibank, and you need to convince them. You need to convince them that I need, 80 billion rupees or $800 million. They say, well, let's see. And they look out, and you're driving a rickshaw. They say, choro. You may have to go to BMW. You may have to drive a Cadillac. Well, learn one thing: when you go to Saudi Arabia or Middle East or Singapore for these businesses, don't take a cab or a rickshaw or things like that. Hire a 6-door BMWs and Cadillacs and Rolls Royces, so that when the guy sees, he has the money. So then he'll talk money. If he finds that you have come in a taxi, then he'll say, oh sir, I'm busy, I have to go somewhere, and then he'll go into the other room. I tell you, this is true. And this is what you learn from the experience. Now again, so this is the kind of, I was reading Mahathir's book, that when he took over as Prime Minister of Malaysia, he found the economy was dictator. There was a big Chinese-Malaysian civil war. Hundreds of people were killed. There were families torn apart. And what he did is oil and gas. He said oil and gas is there. And Shell was taking all oil and gas from Malaysia. They would not give any royalty to Malaysians. So he took 6 youngsters, aged from 25 to 30. And he said, you're managing director, you're deputy managing director, you're CFO, and you're this and this, and you go and negotiate with Shell. So when they went to Shell, here is Britishers, 6 foot, white, wearing black suits, ties, and here the Malaysians, 5 feet 2 inches, going in lungi, you know lungi? Lungi and their sort of dress with a topi, and they see them like this, and they got so much of inferiority complex they came back. So Mahathir said, what happened negotiations? They said, what negotiations? We didn't even drink tea. They were so impressed by the Britishers and such an inferiority complex that they could not talk to them. They came back. They said, okay, how did you go? They say we went out and took a, this hand rickshaw, foot rickshaw. They said, no guys, rent a car. So they got a rent a car. So next time they went into a car. I went to Jayaputra, which is the capital of Malaysia, and I spent 1 full week reading Mahathir's history. And how did Mahathir convert Malaysia into what it is? Malaysia was 20 times behind us back in 60s. There was a poor country, we were a much advanced country. But in 15 years, he turned the table around. He was 20 times advanced than us. What happened? What magic did you do? Yes, he was sincere, he was a man of integrity, he was very hardworking, but oil and gas was his, because they had palm trees, not much, tomatoes he can make out of it, not much potatoes. But what he did was he put on the oil and gas. So he kept on sending these 6 people to Shell, till one day these people were able to audit Shell. They went to offshore, audited them, and found out how much stealing was being done by Shell. Now these 5 foot 3 inches, 5 foot 4 inches, 5 foot 2 inches were able to talk to the Britishers who were lawyers from, barristers from Oxford, beautiful English, and they didn't know proper English also. But now persistence, by the 3-4 years passed, till they broke the nuts and they were able to get hold of Shell. Then Mahathir went to the international court and asked them for payback. And Shell ended up paying, millions of billions of dollars back to Malaysia. Now that was the management. He created those people who couldn't even talk English, who were driving in rickshaws, who didn't have that guts to talk to the Britishers. He converted that inferiority complex into superiority complex, where he was these 6 people, and then of course, the Petronas has grown into a multinational company, and they're into 62 other countries. So I encourage you to read Mahathir's autobiography. How did he convert a very poor nation into a very rich nation? And that's what we are facing in today, KP. That we are perhaps much poorer, or even not that poor as Malaysia was back in 70, when it was torn apart with civil war. There was bad news, but then he collected the whole country and he made what Malaysia is today. We need to get into public-private partnerships. We need to control the public sector companies, like KPOGCL is a public sector company, PIDO is a public sector company, ASMIC is a public sector company, and there will be more public sector companies. This is the vision of the present government, to corporatize, not to run departments. They are converting all these departments into corporates. There is WSSP, so all these will be converted into corporates, and that's where we have a golden opportunity to be the first ones, where the time is right, where the government is converting departments into corporates, and you will be there with the degrees. So you will be in a better position to handle the interviews than other people with the other expertise. Then as you enter into the factors that element influential, what is there in the 20th century that you need to think and how to get this thing, and how to create more and more opportunities for the coming, for the future generations. Implementation, evaluation of management functions of energy enterprise, that we will go and study that, and then equip you scholars with public sector companies, good governance. The government has made rules, regulations. There is a number of KPOGCL is going through ISO certification. There is ISO certification 37,000. It's called 37, the ISO 3700, and it is about anti-bribery. So we'll be the first, inshallah, company in Pakistan to get ISO 37,000 certification. There are systems will be such that nobody will be able to bribe us, and we will not be able to bribe anybody. Like you have ISO 9000, where you have systems that you have a laboratory that runs with the system. ISO 14,000, your marketing system. ISO 18,000, running with your environmental systems. That if I'm certified, we are also getting 14,000, 18,000 certification, that my business partners will know that this energy company is ISO 9001 compliant, 14,000 compliant, 18,000 compliant, and 37,000 compliant. Most of the American companies and the British companies coming to Pakistan, they are zero bribery. They are working on a zero bribery. They say, we don't want to get bribed, we don't want to bribe anybody. So that's the trend that you'll be seeing in the future, that there'll be no bribery in these corporates. And this American company based in Dubai will be coming to see the CM, so that all these departments and corporates in Pakistan, in KP, will be ISO 37,000 compliant. So this is management. This is what you need to bring to your companies. Next. Now this comes something that you need to work hard by yourselves and in this class to make it a successful. You have to be very alert. You have to always strategize your exams, your homeworks, your case studies, your discussion in the class, and your working in the class. Not only in my class, in all the other classes. You have to have, we'll also teach you what is strategy, what is tactics. So you also, when you're giving your exam, there'll be tests on strategy and tactics. Because this is very important for any business entrepreneurships and enterprises. You have to be very aggressive. It has to be, the MDs and the CEOs and the CFOs have to be very aggressive. You have to convince the other guys so that you prevail on them. So that's the kind of qualities that we need to produce in you. Then of course, as I said, you have to have a very powerful reading, writing, and speaking. We have a hyperlink on this one?
Yes, sir.
Hyperlink है इस पे?
Yes, sir.
You see, did you notice what is happening here? दोबारा रन करें इसको. रन करें. ऑन करें. आगे. आगे नहीं, ये आगे. क्या what did you see? जवाब क्या देखा आपने?
Negotiation, like with customers,
No.
feedbacks.
Just see, ये चीज जो आई ना रेड वाली, ये ऐसे आई है, ये ऐसे आई है. आप देखिए, ये इसको ऐसे आई है और ये ऐसे आई है. ये ऐसे आपके स्क्रीन के सामने, ये वापस आई है. तो एज ए रीडर आपने जो रीड करना होगा ना, वो आपने फर्स्ट करना, you want to read this line. You read this line like this and then you read this line like this. You don't read like this. कि ऐसे जाके फिर आपने ऐसे नहीं पढ़ना. समझे आप? जा समझे? आपने पढ़ना है GOP में assign the status of strategic partner to National Oil, promote will GOP government's foreign representing companies. फिर आपने पढ़ना होगा डायरेक्ट नेगोशिएशन विद सेलेक्टेड स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनर्स इन ऑर्डर टू फॉर डीजीपीसी बाय सेलेक्टेड एग्री स्पेसिफिक डेवलपमेंट एंड एक्सप्लोर। पैराग्राफ्स जो है ना, इतने छोटे पैराग्राफ्स, यू डोंट रीड इट, आपने रीड नहीं करना है, इसकी पिक्चराइज करना है। यू हैव टू टेक अ पिक्चर, योर आईज, अल्लाह ताला हैज गिवन यू दिस क्वालिटी, यू वांट टू टेक अ पिक्चर ऑफ दिस वन। आप इसको रीड तो नहीं कर रहे ना, आप रीड कर रहे हैं कि ये क्या है। यू टुक अ पिक्चर ऑफ दिस वन और ये आपको पता लग गया व्हाट इज दिस। इज दिस अ बजूका, गन है, पिस्टल है, राइफल है, टैंक है? नहीं, पॉइंटर है। आपके दिमाग, आपने सोचा भी नहीं, दिमाग ने कहा ये पॉइंटर है। दिमाग ने ये नहीं कहा कि ये टैंक है, बजूका है या आर्टिलरी का कोई पीस है। इसी तरह जब आपने छोटे पैराग्राफ, नॉट मोर देन 3 or 4 लाइंस, यू नीड टू टेक अ पिक्चर ऑफ दिस वन। आपने इसका पिक्चर लेना होगा और पिक्चर आपके दिमाग में रेटिना से, you all know what retina is, once it goes to retina it lands it on your brain and आप वो मतलब समझ गए। अगर आप एक एक लफ्ज पढ़ने लगेंगे ना तो जो फिजिबिलिटीज और जो डिस्कशंस होगी ना तो वैसी रह जाएंगी, बिकॉज यू आर डेली गेटिंग hundreds of these emails, hundreds of these papers, ये प्रोजेक्ट उधर है, ये प्रोजेक्ट उधर है, वो चीज खराब हो गई है, ये आपने रिक्वेजिशन फॉर्म पे साइन करना है, ये चेक पे साइन करना है, एंड यू हैव नो टाइम टू रीड जीओपी में असाइन द स्टेटस ऑफ दिस एंड कंपनीज रिप्रेजेंटिंग, ये टाइम नहीं होगा आपके पास। एंड दैट्स व्हाट इन द क्लास इज दैट। इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ ओपन बुक होगा, जब आपको रीड करना पड़ेगा ना 300 पेजेस आधे घंटे में यहाँ पर, तो आपको ओपन बुक हो, क्लोज बुक हो, ओपन मोबाइल हो, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। तो दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ, इसलिए मैंने ये इधर लाया हूँ कि ये रेड है और ये ग्रीन है, कि आपने ऐसे पढ़ना होगा, ऐसे पढ़ना होगा। सो इन योर यू वांट टू रीड Dawn newspaper, you need to read like this, and you need to take a picture of small paragraphs, and you need not read the's and us and commas and then's. ये जो होते हैं ना आर्टिकल्स, ये अपने दिमाग से निकाल दें कि ये कोई आपने कभी पढ़ा ही नहीं था ये। In writing yes, but in reading, because as a CEO you're not writing much. नीचे वो लोग लिख रहे हैं of growing into a CEO or a top person. Conducting meetings, conferences, you'll be chairing meetings, you'll be chairing conferences. We'll do some mock exercises in the class as well. And also we will take you to other places also, where you can be, so I mean, what I mean that you'll be you'll be required in the class and also to give you practice in other classes also, that we can have a mock seminar here, we can have a mock conference here where you'll be a repertoire, you'll be a chairman of the seminar, and there'll be speakers. You have to speak extempore, you have to speak on various topics with a and in front of perhaps we'll take you to some of the seminars being held in Islamabad and Marriott's and Serena's, where you should be speaking there. So these are the qualities that you need to produce in yourself to be at the top. All the CEOs and the top level people have to have, they should not be mathematicians, I mean not Einsteins, but at least some maths that you need to do it quickly. Who can multiply 11 by 43 in a second? What is 11 by 43? 400? Very good. So this is the kind of, just do it. So this is the kind of maths you require. That you need not, how do you multiply 7 by 43? 11 by 43.
10 by 43, then
10 to 43 and plus 40.
10 to 43 and plus 40.
No. 11 to 3? 11 to 3, then the remaining 11. 11 times 43. What you do is you take 4 and 3. You write here 4 and 3, and 4 and 3 plus 7 you write in the middle 4, 7, 3. Something? It's 11 by 44. You split 44. You write 44, 44, and in the middle you write 8. That's how you multiply 11 by 43 if you are a CEO. You don't multiply 11 times 3 is 33 and carry 4. No, you don't do any carries there. So that's how you learn a number of magical maths. If you go to Google, you can find out so many ways multiply. If you have to multiply 1, 2, 3 by 3 to 1, what do you get? So all these are the maths and logics. Also, you have to be a person of logic. It's very important that you create. I'm going through this in the first class so that I email you all these things so that you understand that in the next 2 years, this and more qualities you need to create in yourself. Logic, in our madrasas, you go to Akoda Khatak madrasa or you go to Azakhil Bala, right from class 1, in a madrasa, a person comes with a fantastic logic. I mean, he's being taught mantak. We call mantak. He is being taught mantak like anything. Quran, Hadith, Fiqh, Tarikh, Islamiyat, Arabic. But when it comes to mantak, right from, that's the one course everybody has to do it. When you're becoming a muhaddis, you don't have to read so much of Quran or Fiqh. When you are become fiqh, you don't have to read so much of Quran, you don't have to hifz Quran and all that. If you go to Darul Uloom Haqqaniya Quda, if you're doing MA in Hadith, Sharif, Muhaddis, then you are working on the research of a Hadith, Sharif. But in every, till MA, Mantak, which means you have a negotiation skill. That's why people who are from these Darul Ulooms, they can logic fantastically. They can logic with you. They logicked in Swat to convince all Swatis that Talibans were better than the Pakistani government. Logic. So as an MD, you have to have a logic, expertise in logic. Whether we are doing my strategic course or Dr. Saab other course, all these comes with the logic, which means a thinking power. You have to have a thinking power so that you logic with your opponent, whether it's a marketing, whether it's a finance or a banking, that you are a good negotiator. And you are only a negotiator when you create a logic out of logic. You cannot just babble around and talking this and that without a logic when you are negotiating these international contracts on oil, gas, hydro plants with the other side. So that's what you require. Then you have to be a risk taker. Of course, you have to have integrity and transparent, but you have to be a risk taker. You cannot say, okay, if I have this one oil well, this is enough for me forever. No, that's not, that you cannot grow. I was part of the Attak group. I was heading Attak Refinery, and Attak Refinery and Attak Pakistan oil field and Attak oil survived since 1907. The two world wars, making of Pakistan, ups and downs, they survived till today. Still, they are one of the largest conglomerates in Pakistan. They were in 1907, so it's more than 100 years, 110 years that they have been in business. Why? Because right from day one, when it was formed, they had a number of qualities in their leaderships. Whenever they selected, and that kept on coming, whenever they selected the leaderships, they wanted them to be aggressive, integrity, as well as a number of negotiators and outgoing and well-spoken, and that's the kind of. Other companies have come and gone. Many companies have not survived the two world wars and the making of Pakistan, and they have just vanished from this surface of surface of the earth, but a number of companies have stayed here till today. And the reason is that the top management was also, because sustainability, we are also studying sustainability, you will be studying sustainability, how it's sustained, because the top man really matters on this issue. Next. Some of the topics we'll be covering in either my class or other classes over a period of 2 years when it comes to oil and gas and power, energy, solar and all that. We'll be discussing the Vision 2025 of the present government, federal government, the Prime Minister and the CM vision of 2030, which is in the making. We are making the CM vision for 2030, energy vision for CM 2030, and also perhaps KPOGCL may also make the Prime Minister energy for 2030. That will be a great honor for KPOGCL and KP to make vision for not only the Chief Minister but the Prime Minister as well. Similarly, the 18th Amendment, the 10th, 11th and the 12th five-year plan, KPOGCL has already been asked by the federal government to get involved in preparation of the 12th five-year plan for Pakistan. So they have selected 4 people out of Pakistan and KPOGCL is one of them to develop the 12th five-year plan for energy. Similarly, the annual plans, the power policies of 2016, 2002, the power policies, the power rules, the petroleum rules, the NEPRA Act, the Power Act, and what comes to the petroleum concession agreements and supplementary agreements. All these are important for you to learn, because once you are on the job, you will not be able to learn these things. Here the discussion goes on. We'll go by page, paragraph by paragraph. You read the paragraphs, we'll ask questions, why, if, when, so that you are in front of NEPRA, you are in front of OGRA when you're trying to get more tariff, get better return on equity, return on investment, IRR. You should be able to negotiate. You should know word by word of these contracts to really negotiate these things. And this comes with hard work actually. And the KV policy, the petroleum policy, and the crude oil pricing, as I discussed, the power tariff. So these are certain things that, this is not the end of the list. This is just to give you the flavor of this course that is, of this degree that is coming in the future for you. Next. We already discussed that the people as guest speakers that we have shortlisted, I also invite you to name a few that you think should come and address you here. We will definitely make effort through Dr. Najib to invite them here for an hour, hour and a half, for them to give a lecture, to have a cup of tea with you, perhaps a dinner with you, and you can interact with them one-to-one and ask them questions that how did you grow in such a great position? How, Mr. Mansha, you became the richest person of Pakistan? How, Mr. Asad Umar, you became the corporate icon of Pakistan? How, Mr. Dawood, Razak Dawood, you have international EPC company? So you will learn from these people, because these people are nice people. They let you know. They want to give you their heart and their time and all these things. That similarly, I've also talked to Jam Kamal Saab, who is the Federal State Minister for Petroleum, and he said he will come here one of these days to address you. But that, again, as I said, should be little down the road, maybe December, January. Then you are equipped with either the petroleum policy, so that you can talk to him about the petroleum policy, the petroleum rules, and why we are not self-sufficient, and what he's doing, what is his vision, and things like that. Of course, the Prime Minister is the minister, so he may not come here. We may go to him. So Razak Dawood, again, another icon. Next. This is again the country head of Asian Development Bank and of the World Bank of MOL. MOL is a main producer of oil and gas here. So we'll invite the Hungarian to come and visit us, and he can spend an hour here. Mr. Shoaib Malik, who is heading not only Pakistan Oil Field, Atak Oil Company, National Refinery, and Atak Petroleum. At the same time, he is heading 4 large companies at one single person. And all these 4 companies you will find as the top 25 companies of Pakistan. There are 25 top companies that get award every year from the stock exchange, and these are the 4 companies that are always there at the top. So you need to learn from them that you're one job, one person, one human being with only 2 eyes, 1 nose like us, and how do you manage these 4 very, very large companies and very, very successful companies and very, very sustained companies which has survived, as I said, the 2 world wars and the making of Pakistan, the martial laws, and this and that. Still they are doing well. And if you go to the Google and check their earning per share, the dividends, they are one of the best investments in Pakistan still. And Raziuddin Hashwani, have you heard the name of Raziuddin Hashwani? Who is he? PC owner. And what was he before? Have you read his history before? I'll just take a minute to tell his history. He was a young boy of 15 years old with no money. So he used to take these clips and all these from Karachi and stand at Sorab Court. And a truck was passing and he will say, stop. So people will stop at that time and the driver will ask him to go to the top. So he will go to the top and sit at the top where there's heat or cold. He's sitting there and enjoying the freezing wind, and he's taking these clips and these, naras and that you see, small, to Quetta. He sells this at Quetta and buys dry fruit from that money and kharbuza and tarboos and brings to Karachi. So that was his trip at the age of 15, 16. So eventually he hired 1 more person to do their job, then 2 more person, and today he is owner of PCs and Marriott's and oil companies and ships, and he has oil wells in Sudan. So it is a self-made person. He knew how to manage. He didn't do MSEM. He didn't do MBA. He was not a mechanical or chemical engineer, yet he had all the qualities of hard work, and that's how he grew into now Mr. Raziuddin Hashwani. Now this was all about why you are here and why are we offering MSEM and what we desire from you. University UET has offered you this opportunity, and let's see what you offer as an opportunity to UET. How much do you develop these qualities in yourself so that you become a good managers and head? The correlation between oil and gas, between the government of KP and UET is because we thought the need. We talked to UET. UET came forward, yes, we can create this kind of ex-human beings in KP. That's why we are here. That's why we have joined hands to work together as academia and the industry to develop people like you. And now 2 of us are fully synchronized. Let's see how much you get synchronized with us and you create these qualities in yourself so that tomorrow you become the leaders of the future. Any comments? Any comments?
Sir, my name is UT Peshawar से BSc Electrical Power Engineering. सर मेरा नाम अहमद अली है, यूटी पेशावर से इलेक्ट्रिकल पावर इंजीनियरिंग में मैंने बीएस की है। तो मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि आपने अभी स्ट्रेटजी की बात की है, तो स्ट्रेटजी की तो कंट्री जो पाकिस्तान के अलावा है वो इन चीज़ों पे मतलब जो गैस वगैरह जो जिनके वेल्स है मतलब कुएं हैं पेट्रोल वगैरह इन पे बैन लगाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, वो रिन्यूएबल्स की तरफ जा रहे हैं। हमारा अभी भी स्ट्रेटजी ये है कि हम उन्हीं की तरफ दौड़ रहे हैं, मतलब हम चाह रहे हैं कि हमारे पास गैस वगैरह के वेल्स हो, पेट्रोल्स के वेल्स हो, लेकिन हम किस तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं, मतलब वो रिन्यूएबल की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं जिनको वो जिन चीज़ पे बैन लगाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं हम उन चीज़ों को मतलब वो गले लगाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं जो हार्मफुल है, जिनके साइड इफेक्ट्स है बाद में बहुत ज़्यादा।
Who will give the answer? You see, no country, even America and Canada, today, they're also exploring new wells. They're also producing oil and gas, and they're also targeting more and more oil and gas wells, because it's not only renewables or solar that they can survive. Yes, Holland and Germany has reached their threshold, which means their economies have flattened out. They don't want to go up, they don't want to work too much more. They want to have a nice life, and their GDPs are stagnant. American and the Chinese still going up. Pakistan, India still going up. So if we want to go up, we need everything: oil, gas, coal, photovoltaic cells, hydel, everything we need, because our GDPs still have to go. But the countries Japan has flattened. So these few countries who have flattened in their economies, and they just want to keep the GDP at flattened, fine. They have reached their population growth is 0. Our population growth is 2.5%. We have to provide them jobs, we have to provide them energy. So only solar cannot be the answer. America is also growing. China is growing faster than any other country. India is growing faster than China. So they are going for more and more oil wells, more and more coal. Yes, China has stopped the old technology for coal, not the new technology. You see, they are importing millions of tons of LNG from Qatar. So is Japan, so is Korea. So it is a fallacy that we should only rely on renewables, because your economy that you require does not get fulfilled if you just, if suppose we just put photovoltaic PV cells, solar cells all over KP, we may see a major change in the climate. That's also bad. But you need to have a mix, maybe for another 50, 60 years before our population gets flattened out and our economy gets flattened out. So we'll also touch on this thing in one of the courses, maybe in the next semester or so, of these World Energy Outlook. What is the World Energy Outlook? Is that going 100% solar by 2030, 2035? No, by 2030, maybe 8% of the total energy will be solar. Still oil and gas and coal. Africa needs oil, gas and coal. Far East, Malaysia, Vietnam is drilling oil wells like mad, because they need their economies to grow. Yes, Germany, Holland, Belgium, Denmark, and Japan, I can name these, not even Hungary or Austria or Romania, they are also drilling wells. These few countries have reached that peak, and they happen to be where they get a lot of wind, not solar, wind. So they are in a lucky place to harness a lot of wind, yes. But there are other factors also. So we need to also study what other factors are there. Yes, good, we should put as many solars as we can at the same time, as many oil wells as we can, as many gas wells, as many power plants, hydropower plants we can. Because we are at such a low energy consumption that whatever we do, we are still low. So you see, your energy is growing at 5-6%, your population is growing at 2.5%. So your population is always catching up with the oil and gas and solar and hydro that you produce. So you need to double, triple your oil and gas production and solar production and hydro production to satisfy the needs of the people. Okay.
Sir, as you said that we have more than $1 billion of resources in KP of oil and gas, and by 2025 it may reach up to $1 trillion. These resources will end at some point. That is my real question here. That as you said that we will have to export these resources to foreign countries, but what I have seen in the current trend, what I believe, the time may change much faster than we think. That means that by 2025 or 20, cars may switch to electrical cars from normal fossil fuels. USA has already stated that we may pass law for that. And if that happens, US is one of the largest consumer of oil and gas. So we will lose a very large client for that. And the question was, yes, in UAE, they're already trying to switch to tourism business from oil and gas because they have already predicted in the near future we may not use these resources as much as we think. Let's say somebody in the future may develop a device that can produce energy to sustain a whole country that is much more efficient than a solar system. So do we have a backup plan for that? What happens after 25 years? Or if someone creates something like that, what will we do?
Well, I think this is a very good question, and we need to, one of these courses, discuss this out. That what if happens that if things goes, nobody starts using oil and gas, and what I meant export, I didn't mean export to foreign countries, we meant export to Punjab, Balochistan and Sindh, Karachi, that we send oil and gas and power from here and get money from those provinces. But we will study this energy management. We will go to the energy outlook, the data, the expertise, the OECD, what do they say? What does Energy Information Agency says? What all these OPEC says? And there's a discussion. You're right. That what if somebody tomorrow makes Aladdin ka chirag and that solves all the problems, but that's not going to happen. UAE is a population of 30-40 lakhs. We are a population of 20 crores, growing at a very fast rate. By the time you are in the job market, our population will be 25 crores. By the time you are going into the higher management, it will be 30 crores. Now, how do we satisfy these 30 crores? Not with these gadgets, or not with this magic, but with the real-time energy of oil and gas and hydro, as well as solar. So our energy mix, I don't see, yes, as far as our analysis is concerned, at 200,000 barrels a day and about 2 billion cubic feet per day, KP will be able to sustain itself till 2035. Now, this is our knowledge that tells us today. But we need to improve our knowledge base, our software, our research, look for more oil, deeper oil, ultra deep oil, 10,000 meters. We have gone to 4,000 meters. Perhaps you have to go to 10,000 meters to look for oil. Maybe even deeper. So the technology will keep on improving, the chances of oil and gas will keep on improving. And we'll find more reserves. People said there is no oil in northern areas. Bonaire has seepages. Bonaire lies in a mountainous area. So they have, so the technology is changing. So yes, I'm not saying oil and gas. We are talking of energy. Energy could be solar. Maybe one day when you are a grandfather, maybe everything will be solar. You'll have solar cars, you'll have solar bikes, solar houses, everything. Who knows? But at present, what we are seeing from now to 2030, the mix of oil, gas, coal, hydro will remain more or less the same. After that, yes, first we discussed why MSEM, why are we here, why you are here, why did UET and KPOGCL and the government of KP thought of developing a course that will set the trend for the future. What is future? What is KP has to get the advantage of oil and gas and hydro through this course actually. Because human resource is a major thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put ashubul makhluqat. Oil and gas was there for millions of years. 100 billion years oil and gas was there. The water has been flowing through Swat River and Kagan and Kalam and Mansera for, I don't know, thousands of years. But there was no human resource. There was no human being. There was nobody to come and catch this thing. So we are actually at the crossroad of history where from having a very what we call energy poverty. We need to move from energy poverty to energy security. And perhaps this is the first class, so you are going to set the trend. So please don't set the wrong trend. Put the right trend so that the next class that comes in January and later on is is going to be beneficial for this KP and for the people. If you become disheartened and you become bored and you do not take interest, then the coming generations will not benefit. So it's very much always dependent on the first brick that you put in. If the first brick is right, then the whole wall is right. If the first brick is a little tilted, then the wall goes at an angle. So it is very important that at the crossroad of history that we make this batch a very successful batch. Now from the MSEM we move to my course, the first course, which is a core course. It's called 501, CAS-EMS-501. So what is strategic management? In strategic management, what we will learn in the first semester, to first of all to familiarize with various strategies and organizational management. That how do you manage? Now when you manage, you're not supposed to work, you're supposed to manage. Like if you see an overseer building a road, you don't see him taking a shovel and walking. What you see is he's managing a surveyor, he's managing the total station, he's managing the laborers, he's managing the roller truck, and he's a manager of that road that he's doing. Similarly, a building or whatever. So this course that we will study what are the strategies to manage and what are the kind of organizations. Obviously, we are dealing here, when we are dealing with mega projects, we are dealing with the public sector projects like KPOGCL and PDO and ASMEC projects, and we are dealing with the private sector. When the private sector comes, like MOL and POL, they are private sector. When the private and hydropower plants being built by the private sector. So there's a public sector and the private sector. Both are doing the same job, like building a power plant, but both of them are doing it a different way. When the public sector does, what happens? When the private sector does, what happens? What is the difference? What are the efficiencies? What are the advantages and disadvantages of society when one person is doing and the other person is doing? So we'll go through these strategies. Goal setting. Obviously, any management that you do, any company or anything you do, like you are here, you have set a goal for yourself. That in 2 years I'm going to go ahead and do this degree. And you did your bachelor's in chemical engineering, you must have set your course that you didn't do electronics, you didn't do mechanical, you did chemical for certain reasons. So goal setting for the company, how do you set the goals for the companies that you will manage? Understanding the organizational objectives. Then you have a pyramid. There's a chief executive, then vice presidents, presidents, so general managers, assistant general managers, then you have senior engineers, associate accountants. So there's a whole pyramid. So every step there is a objective. Why, any company, for that matter, would not give a free salary to a desk that, okay, nice, you sit here forever, enjoy your life, don't work, never. You make the top person makes the person below work, and he makes the below person work. So there's no desk that will be left without work. So there has to be some kind of objective for that desk. And then all these become objective of the company. So if there's a pyramid, there's one person at the top, which is CEO or managing director, and under him there are maybe 1,000, 2,000, 70,000 people. So every desk has to have an objective. So that's what we will learn from. Then of course you do your planning. Without planning, no war can be won. If you are in a state of war, you are planning. You are in a state of a company, you are planning. State of education, you are planning. Every place you have to do certain kind of planning. So we will go through what kind of planning is needed in a corporate sector, if it's a public sector company and if it's a private sector company. Previously, we had split this into two courses, public and private sector. But then we thought that maybe we should combine them together because there are certain synergies between the public sector and the private sector. So one can learn from both the public sector and the private sector. There are some advantages in the public sector, like by public sector I mean like WAPDA, PESCO, OGDCL, PPL, PSO, these are all public sector owned by the people of Pakistan, by the government. And the private sector like Atal Refinery, Pakistan Refinery, these are private sector. So what's the difference? Because one can really bring advantage to each other. Operation of an organization, how does an organization operates? And what are the ways, what are the theories of operations so that when you are operating this company, you are an operations manager or any kind of hierarchy, how would you manage and operate these big mega projects? You have to have tools, you have to have skill, you have to have people, you have to have managerial skills, you have to have analytical skills, you have to have computer skills. All these skills have to be in you to become successful. And then the management processes. What are the processes in the management that the scientists, the management scientists have evolved for, like you have done in your electronic engineering? There are processes. There are formulas, there are ways, there are means, there are thermodynamic formulas. You have learned in your engineering and in MBA, you have learned accounting, finance, trial balance, double set accounting. All these you have learned, balance sheet, income statement, how to take a number from balance sheet to the income statement, how to take a number from the income statement to the balance sheet. All these you have gone through, in one example or the other. And here we will learn about when you are managing, when you are managing an energy company or a large company, what kind of processes you need to have. Like one thing, just to give an example, is information. You're managing a company, you are sitting in Peshawar and you are in the head office, you should know what is happening in town. You should know what is happening in Chitral. If you don't know, then you are gone. Then in no time somebody else will come and sit in your place. So you have to be very vigilant. At the top, it's lonely, you're alone. Plus, there are a number of eyes, there are a number of movements going around to topple you and take your position. That's also one strategy that you need to have, and everybody experience. You will be no exception. At the top, there are other aspirants also. Any position. If you are a manager, assistant manager will be doing a strategy, his own strategy, to let you go one day and he becomes the manager. And if you are assistant manager, your deputy manager will be making a strategy. So you have to be also careful from that point of view to secure your position, as well as making management processes for the company. That what kind of processes you have to make for the company, so that the company is successful and you know the information. And as I said, ISO. Once in Atal Refinery, when we were ISO 9001 compliant, immediately Shell and Coltex, which is Chevron now, they closed their laboratories. They said Atal Refinery has a procedure to test petrol, diesel, kerosene, jet fuel, furnace oil, bitumen that they are selling to us. So if they have a process, then we don't need a laboratory. Because previously both Atal Refinery used to test it and Shell used to test it. So both used to test the octane number and the cetane number and all these things for oil and gas, for petrol and diesel. So they immediately closed their laboratories. They said there's a procedure. So that's what the process. So the management processes of one entity helped the other entity. Next. ये तो आ गया था. Next. Okay, I just thought I'll just introduce myself to you also. That I've done MS from, I did my bachelor's in engineering from Peshawar University. At that time it was Peshawar University Engineering College. Now it's UT. and then I did my MS from Detroit, Michigan, and my MBA from upstate New York, and I've been working on a number of places, Auto Refinery and OGTC and National Refinery and so on and so forth. This you can see in the email. But one thing that I did as a major thing was I was chairman of Vision 2025, which is being implemented now by SN Iqbal. And also I was the chairman of the 10th 5-year plan and 11th 5-year plan. 10th 5-year plan was People's Party, and 11th 5-year plan was by the present government. So that was a major task that I contributed, and also the 7th 5-year plan when I was very young. So these are the major contributions that I put in energy in Pakistan. Next. Next. Acha. Now, where are the books? Do we have books? No, we don't have any books. We will get some reference books for this course and for other courses also. But as I said, we'll have you to interact with people, like icons of energy in Pakistan, and the websites are there. You know, all these websites and more websites are there for you to learn through their annual reports, through their strategies, through their visions. Every of these companies have vision statement and a mission statement, so that you will learn what is the vision and mission of that company, and you can download their strategies, and you can see how these companies have grown in the history, and then what we will have, that where the world is going, as you said, the world is moving towards no oil, no gas. When will it happen actually? When will we run out of oil and gas? When I was working for the Planning Commission back in 1990, at that time the total reserves of Pakistan was 26 trillion cubic feet of gas. And at that time, the advocates of the doomsday were saying that's it, Pakistan has no gas, oil, it will finish and we'll be so poverty stricken, we have nothing and this and that. That was 1990 when you were not even born. And now, today, our reserves are 56 trillion. From 26 we have moved to 56 trillion cubic feet of gas we have. So the more we are looking for oil and gas, more reserves we are making. So it means that we have survived from 1990 till today. 27 years we have survived based on that 26 trillion cubic feet of gas and more. We have consumed so much of gas and more gas reserves have come up. So this thing will keep on moving. So, but there will be one day a limit of oil and gas, one day. What day we don't know. But at least we know that KP till 2035 has plenty of oil and gas to produce for not only for KP but perhaps for most part of Punjab as well. So we will see what the world is doing, what the region, which means the Middle East and the CPEC, and in the reverse CPEC, I mean from China to Gwadar and Gwadar to Punjab, what is happening. If China is presently a $7 trillion economy, we are 3 trillion rupees, which is rupees, and they are $7 trillion economy. America is $15 trillion economy. China is number 2, America is number 1. Then comes Germany with 5 trillion. Now if China is 7 trillion, and if by 2025 they expect to be 10 trillion, by 2025 if 1 trillion trade goes through Pakistan, only 1 trillion, then you need to cater for 4 lakh trucks in Pakistan, additional. To carry that equipment and machinery and raw material from Gwadar to Punjab, you require, some trucks are going this way, some are halfway, some are unloading, some are loading, some are coming this way. So from the western corridor, from the eastern corridor and a new central corridor, only for 10% of Chinese trade, $1 trillion only, you need 400,000 more trucks in Pakistan, and you need 2,900 new petrol pumps in Pakistan. Today we have 7,000 petrol pumps. So almost one third of more petrol pumps are needed. And you need, our refining capacity is 17 million tons, and we need another 8 million tons of refining capacity to cater for the Chinese trade. We are not getting anything, but we are getting some benefit out of it. Some benefit out of it in trucks, because when the trucks goes, we need 10,000 auto technicians by 2025 to repair the trucks, to change the tire, to change the, to work on this and that, and in a truck there are so many things that can go wrong. And we need at Khuzdar, at Gwadar, and all the way from Deir Ismail Khan and Mansehra, we need to have almost something like 40 new hotels to be built on the way so that the drivers can stay there. And thousands of restaurants on the road for these drivers and cleaner and auto technicians and tow trucks to keep these three routes. One is the Western Corridor being built, one is the Eastern Corridor, which is the motorway, and one will be the new Central Corridor to come in. So that's the kind of transportation that Pakistan has never seen before will be happening when you are managers. Then you have to manage, and managing trucks is not like managing our ring road, nothing of this sort. It's going to be very scientific, people with master's degree and PhD degrees in traffic management will be managing these corridors, where there should be no traffic jam, like what you see on University Town Road, nothing of this sort obviously. Everything should be smooth, and zero accident is the target of NHA. That there should be no accident. With the passage of time, the trucks will be coming where, as already here, there's a distance between the two trucks. If the distance goes below 3 trucks at the speed of say 80 kilometers per hour, automatic brakes are applied. Automatic speeds is done, automatic turning this way, that way. So all these new gadgetries will become part of the CPAC. So CPAC is going to bring a total new technology, and even for transportation, you need really certain CEOs and certain top management to run these 400,000 trucks. If only 10% of the economy of China passes through Pakistan, but there could be more. What if 20%? Because China is going to depend more and more on Pakistan, on Gwadar and Gujarat. There will be a pipeline, a crude oil pipeline going from Gwadar to Gujarat, passing through Deir Ismail Khan. So somebody has to build this massive amount of pipeline. So it's your chance to prove yourself that you can do these things. So that also a very, very strategic thing happening to the country, to Pakistan, and we are in the middle of that. Nobody can pass through CPAC route except go through KP. So KP has to play a major role in this thing. That's why KP, with the help of NHA, developing road from is developing road from Deir Ismail Khan to Miawali and to motorway, and KP and NHA is building road from Deir Ismail Khan to Kadapa, to Kohar, to Peshawar, to Chakdara, and from there going to Gujarat. So there will be 2 routes going from. Now, you may have seen Swat Expressway. If somebody has gone through that, the Swat Expressway is being built, which will shorten the distance between the motorway and Swat. So from Chakdara and onward, and all these new roads are being. So the roads system will be by itself a paradigm change in our economy. So somebody has to strategize. Somebody is strategizing already, sitting in the planning commission, making the roads, the size of the roads, the cost. Who's going to bear the cost? The money has to come from somewhere. The asphalt has to come from somewhere, and the people have to come from somewhere. So with that, the Chinese economy, 10% coming through Pakistan, is going to change the face of our transportation. And the face of our transportation doesn't run on carrot juice. It runs on oil and gas. So we will start seeing, instead of diesel trucks, we will start seeing petrol trucks. And we will see the gas trucks being run on gas. And there will be a truck that will come from Gwadar to Mansehra. And the prime mover will move away. And the trailer will be taken up by a much stronger prime mover to take it up. So there's a gradient from Punjab up to Mansehra. A very sharp gradient. Coming this way needs a very strong brakes and gear. And going up needs a very strong engine. And then flat land from Mansehra to Gwadar is a flat land, so you need a different kind of prime mover, which is a truck. The trailer remains the same. So it's a whole new concept being developed by the Chinese and the Pakistani Planning Commission, NHA. I'll also invite Sajjad Tarar, who's the chairman of NHA, to tell you about what role NHA is playing in the whole development of Pakistan. So we will develop the Pakistan, the world energy outlook, the region energy outlook, the Pakistan energy outlook, and the KP energy outlook. So in the library, with the help of Dr. Najib Saab, we'll buy these expensive books. I think they cost 20,000 rupees one book for the world energy outlook, so that in the library we can have a couple of them so you can see what the world around is happening about the energy outlook, energy. And we will also teach some courses here. Assignments will be there, quiz, as any other class has quiz. Sorry, this is what you have to see in this class, like any other class. We'll have case studies, class groups, we'll form groups for discussions, for projects, and visit to some places. We'll visit some energy companies, maybe like one of the rigs or the wells or the Atak refinery and all that, to see how are these things managed. Then you have a project, maybe 2-3 people will get together to a project in the class, and then you will have exam, a midterm exam, unfortunately, and a final exam. Unfortunately, these are part of life. This is, Dr. Najib has put these, though I'm not in favor of exams, but he loves exams, so the exams are there. And of course the exams are open book, open notes, open discussion, whatever. But you have to come up with some, in your projects, in your homework, in your assignments, you have to come up with something of ingenuity. No copy-paste. I may be fooled by a copy-paste, but it's not good for you. You need to come up with even 2 sentences, and a really innovative sentences on energy management and sustainability. How do you see PDO, KPOGCL, or overall government of KP, Pakistan, whatever assignment is given to you or exam that comes hitting you, you need to come up with really your own mind innovative solutions, ideas for that. That will be the beauty of this course, that we are not really copy pasting from Google's and Wikipedia and all those things, but we are coming up in our discussions really some solutions for those companies like Japan Power and all those, which are, just to give you an example, we can always bring some more examples, who have been stricken by failures and who could not do good, and who have done good, how can they do excellent. We'll get some case studies, some small case studies, some minute case studies, and some question answers. We'll interact, you can interact, we'll interact for you. We'll ask some companies to give us assignments so that we can come up with these solutions. I think that is the real success of this program, to come up with these things. So, so exams, like all your life you have had closed book exams, but this time will be an open book exam. You can enjoy your exams and come up with ideas. Next. Yeah, I don't know, 30, 40, whatever. This is, we can decide ourselves. Grades are not important. And then now, this is the sort of a routine of I'll email you all these things, and I'll flash my email address and Rabia's email address, so you can give your email address to us and a telephone number so that we can contact you, and we'll have a WhatsApp group, and we'll have a Gmail group so that we can interact with our ideas, we can bounce back a number of things, of our intellectual things, even question answers, ideas and homebooks and all that. So it'll be mostly paperless classes, except for exams. Exams have to be writing, or they can be. So we will be. I hope UET would not have any problem, or HEC, with open book exams. I'm afraid of HEC, but we'll manage those. So this goes. You know, I don't want to bore you with reading these things. You'll have this 501 in your email. So I'll email all this to you, and also what is the assignment for the next class when we meet next Monday. By that time you would have emailed me your assignment that I would like to give you at the end of the class, so that you come up with that assignment. Of course, you will have other classes also. I don't want to burden with you in the first 2-3 classes with too much homework and too much projects and too much exam. But one thing, going through all this thing, your own feeling, next class we will discuss what kind of projects each and every person of you will do. You want to do alone, you want to do in a mix of 2 or maximum 3. So you can group 3 to develop a project. By project I mean a solution for an energy company or a new energy company, a strategy for KP government, strategy for this chief minister or the prime minister or Pakistan, or strategy for SNGPL. Like, one thing we are contemplating and is under heavy discussion, that the province of KP, the government of KP, should take over PESCO, you know PESCO, the Wapna thing, as well as SNGPL. It belongs to the federal government for so long, since 1980 or 1960 or so, 1952. The federal government has been handling it, but now the time has come that the provincial government takes the management. Now, if we take the management, what will happen? There are bureaucrats who are afraid that will be a failure, but then there are people say it will be a great success. Now, that could be a project. Development of a fertilizer industry could be, because we have a lot of gas, could be a project. Anything you can, there is no limits on imaginations. You can imagine any project that you want to do. So next class we can discuss, we can bounce back all these ideas, that what kind of project you can do. By project you mean that you have to write certain a few, 30-40 pages as a solution, or as a program, or as a strategy, or as a tactics, or something that you want to do yourself, or with a group of 2-3 people, so that at the end of the day you are given some credit and some marks for that. So that will be your assignment, to think about your project when we come next time. And as far as your assignment is concerned, I would not burden you with your idea for the project next time. And also, you go through these 15 classes, and you may have some questions, that why this, why not this. You may have idea that I may have missed in developing this course of strategic management for public and private sector companies. So you may come up with certain ideas, so that we will start with the details of this in the next class. But you can also come up, if you want to revamp these 15 classes, so that we can, it's your choice, it's your own thinking, it's your own mind, that you are all coming from almost 16 years of education, so that you also know what is good, bad and ugly. So you can also contribute to this development of this course, that you came to this class and you wanted this thing, but it's not there. Where is it? So we can always discuss it and we can always input those things in the class, learning in the class. So this kind of development is very much necessary at the beginning in this first week, so that when we go to this third, fourth week, because then we will set a trend for this course, that what kind of trend we have for this course. And because you are here on the learning side, you have paid fees, you have done hard work to get into this course, so you want to deliver what you really want. I don't want to impose my own thoughts of strategic management onto you, but feel free to shoot holes into it. Feel free to subtract or add any subject that you feel is critical for your own future. Right? Questions? Suggestions? By the way, we'll have also marks for class participation, like any other MS class has. You need to participate. You need to come up with ideas. Don't be shy of speaking. We all learn from this, and I think all our colleagues are here, and nobody will laugh. I'm sure. I guarantee that nobody will laugh, and people will appreciate. And this is also very important that you have a good oratorship qualities in yourself.
So how is the type of assignment? Because it is in type of assignment. It is in the hard form, the soft form, or in class discussions.
There'll be class discussions, and obviously there'll be class discussions going on a subject. But the assignment that I said, like a project, it can be Word, electronically, and as we go on, that'll be for the full semester assignment as a project. But on your weekly assignment, just feel free to submit it electronically. If you want to bring a printout, that's fine. If you want to email me, that's fine. And also, I will also send you assignments by emails. So when we have a group, then I can send it to you, or something of this sort. So we will be mostly interacting on emails as far as assignments are concerned, and group discussions. So, but of course, the reading will also be very important. So you'll have a massive. So next time you come, as some of these things, and I show you the websites. So all those websites that you see, you go through these websites, and you see what kind of companies are working, energy companies are working in Pakistan, and what they have done, good, bad, they have done in their history, that they have survived for so many years. So the the companies are there. You can go to the websites, including our website, PIDO website, KPOGCL website, PPL website. So all these websites are available on your smartphones. I hope everybody's carrying a smartphone. Okay? Anything else? Any questions?
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
Okay.
I would like to conclude. It's really an honor to see वो KPOGCL हमारे साथ है. लेकिन एक चीज़ आपने देखा होगा, एक तो मैं really appreciate करता हूँ. एक naturally जिसको कहते हैं ना, मैं खुद इतना charged up हो गया हूँ कि I would like to start my energy management again. लेकिन expectation आपने देखी होंगी, और जिस तरह के हम basically लाने की कोशिश करेंगे, तो आपने भी इतना perform करना होगा. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि it's like usual master program. मैं अक्सर लोगों को एग्जांपल देता हूँ कि हमारे यहाँ लोग कहते हैं कि बस ठीक है, आखिर में डिग्री दे दें 2 साल के बाद. हम 2 साल आए हैं तो बस आखिर में डिग्री दे दें, और बार-बार ये रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं. So it will not be like this, and this will not work here. तीनों जो मैं ज़्यादा तारीफ तो अपनी नहीं करूँगा, लेकिन डेफिनेटली CEO साहब हैं, हमारे तनवीर साहब हैं, माई सेल्फ, हम टॉप क्लास की कोशिश करेंगे, and we expect the same from you. So thank you very much, and sir, once again thank you very much. Thank you. See you. I hope the next class will be on what date? Do you know?
Monday. Wednesday.
This is Wednesday, the next one, and then my class will be on Friday, inshallah. Okay? So see you, inshallah, Wednesday. Do you know the time?